authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation. Welcome to Tanisha Talks Tea, where we dive into authentic. Live up on Tanisha Talks Teas on a Tuesday evening. Hi. I hope you guys enjoy the new digital set. I am also checking to make sure my mic is on with these headphones. So let me find my live. And we're up and running again. So I apologize, even though, however, it was not wholeheartedly my fault why the two Diddy lives that I did going over the TMZ documentary that they did on the downfall of Diddy. I will redo those. Okay, give me a minute. I'm just got a lot going on. Anyway, it was StreamYard. I upgraded to StreamYard. And when I upgraded to StreamYard, for some stinking reason, what is this? Let's get this out of here. What these numbers are. Let me see if they show up on my live really fast. Thank you for working with me. Like I said, I got a new digital set. I hope y'all enjoy it. Okay. No, they're not there. Okay. So those are just numbers that I can only see. Upgraded StreamYard, I was like, okay, we're going live. We're going live with a new digital set over on StreamYard. Unfortunately, when I upgraded on StreamYard, I was unable to hear any, or you guys were unable to hear anything I was saying. Okay. It was only things that were voices that were, coming from the media sharing. So that prevented you guys from hearing. However, I thank all of my tea talkers for continuing to support. Numbers have been looking absolutely amazing. We're growing. We're almost at 12,500 followers. So we are definitely going to, At 13,000. When we reach 13,000, we are going to have a live star giveaway again, as we did when we hit 10,000. We gave away stars live. It was a great live. Lots of, likes and views. So nothing so far has topped my Mike Tyson fight. Like, nothing has topped my Mike Tyson fight yet. Right? So we're looking forward to hitting those record numbers again. So every time there's like a event that you guys want me to cover with you or anything like that, let me know. Type it on my page, hit me up, say, Tanisha Talks Tees, why don't you cover this event? It's going to be live. I don't care if it's a Zeus Network event, Now That's TV event, a boxing event. The Super Bowl is definitely getting live streamed over here on Tanisha Talks Tees. Okay, we're definitely going to be streaming live for the Super Bowl, right? So, if it's an event that you guys know is going to be live and popping and hot, and you guys want to, live stream it and talk tea about it, laugh, sip, eat, have a good time with Tanisha Talks Tees, then let me know and we will check it out and we'll get that up and popping. So, we got merch. We got merch. We got Tanisha Talks Tees merchandise. Okay. So we got t-shirts, y'all. We got necklaces. You can get them personalized for your own talks. For them to say like Jennifer Talks Tees, Marco Talks Tees. Have your own personalized Tanisha Talks tee. Our tees, 18 karat gold, nice little chain. Okay. You can also represent your Tanisha Talks Tees shirts. We have these for merch. We have t-shirts. Okay. We also have sweatshirts and other t-shirts. Okay. So inbox me. They're $20. Sweatshirts are $35. So if you want a t-shirt that says Tanisha Talks the Tees with the cup and my pretty beautiful face, okay, to just represent your favorite tea talker over here on Facebook, then go on ahead and put in your order. Inbox me, let me know. You can put in multiple orders. You can put in as many, from any orders you like. They are up for sale right now. In my inbox, just inbox Tanisha Talks Tees on Facebook right now for all of your ordering inquiries. So, what is popping, Facebook? I have missed y'all. Like, I've been sick. I have been sick. Like, oh my God, going in and out of, just feeling the ups and downs of the flus, aches and body aches, like throat, sore throat, coughing, runny nose, blurry eyes, scratchy, itchy eyeballs, like, so, there's something else that I wanted to put up here. How about, let me see. We're adding some stuff. Let me see if it popped up on my live. I'm still figuring out. I'm now streaming with something else. So it didn't pop up. See, there's a couple things that I'm tweaking. Hmm. So I'm working on a little box that has a tip goal. So every show I'll put like $10, $20, $50, $200, $500, depending on the event. Okay. So that'll be the tip goal, right? That we want to reach for the event, the live, the tea talk that we're doing that night or day or evening or whatever we're going to be doing, right? Covering that day. So if you feel, that you want to bless us with the tip, then you hit, tip goal, and then you put your tip in. Okay. So, oh, I don't see something here that I really need to have. It should be up there, but I'm not going to worry about it on our first digital set. However, my chat box should be up here. Got it. Okay, now I can see my chat. Okay, I look wonderful. So, anywho, let's get into some tea. Diddy did not get bail, right? So that's what tea is for Diddy. Let's go ahead and look into some Diddy did not get bail stuff. I hope everybody's having a great Tuesday evening. I am here in beautiful Golden, Colorado. I'm sipping on some tea and Hennessy. My man, my mama raised me better than this. How everybody's Thanksgiving? Mine was good. I had just a simple but plenishing, fulfilling dinner. Turkey, ham, greens, potato salad, deviled egg potato salad, greens, collard greens, string beans with potatoes, honey, Hawaiian sweet rolls, banana cream pie, apple caramel pie. I showed you guys pictures, so feel free to go back and enjoy some delectable, beautiful pictures of what we did for Thanksgiving. It was a really nice Thanksgiving. So let's see what they're talking about. Diddy denied bail. Live now from Fox. Diddy spends Thanksgiving in jail and in New York City after being denied bail, right? Okay. So we got 9 major P. Diddy updates from exclusive bail hearing. Okay.
Presented by Law and Crime. This could prove to be a very interesting week. The Sean Diddy Combs legal saga. Why?
Bear with us as we have a few technical issues, but everything seems to be up and running.
I would have said that seemed highly unlikely, but after what we saw on Friday during the most recent bail hearing in front of Judge Arun Subramanian, the current judge of Combs' criminal case, a judge, by the way, who hasn't heard this bail issue
I don't know
before.
what these numbers are that's covering up my face.
It seems a lot more probable. I'm going to explain. So, Combs has been sitting in the Metropolitan Detention Center, the MDC out in Brooklyn since his arrest in September. And of course,
we're getting a lot of glitches here.
as you know, he's facing racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution charges, namely that from 2008 to 2024, he used force, threats, coercion to cause women to engage in sexual activity, including sex acts with male
We're getting a lot
sex workers. That's what's known as the freak-offs, that he operated a criminal enterprise that was engaged in all sorts of illicit activity. And acts of violence like kidnapping and arson. Okay, we knew that. And now, two previous judges, a district court judge and a magistrate judge, both previously denied Sean Combs bail, siding with the prosecution's arguments that Combs was a danger to society, given these allegations, that he was a risk of flight, given his wealth, power, and resources, that he engaged in potential obstruction by improperly contacting witnesses and victims in the case. And this, by the way, is despite the defense putting forth a very expansive bail package. $50 million bond, home confinement, no phone or internet use, 24/7 private security to monitor him, limits.
I realize the numbers are up there, guys. I kind of got
bail package, one that I really haven't seen. But
I'm gonna leave it here. Okay.
Into this hearing on Friday, again in front of Judge Arun Subramanian, who hasn't decided this issue yet because he was the most recent judge assigned to the case, prosecutors were also armed with more arguments, more evidence. Why? Because as we previously discussed on Sidebar, they alleged in a letter to the court that while behind bars at the MDC, Sean Combs has been violating the Bureau of Prisons rules. Now, by the way, that in and of itself can be used to show, hey, if he can't follow the rules while he's locked up inside, what makes you think he can be trusted on the outside? But putting that to the side, not only that, prosecutors say he has been engaging in unauthorized communications, such as three-way phone calls on a monitored phone, using other inmates' phone access codes to make phone calls, and using a third-party text messaging provider. And they alleged he was doing all of this to instruct third parties to reach out to witnesses and even try to influence a potential jury pool. And by the way, influencing a potential jury pool, that's with respect to the allegation that he orchestrated a social media campaign around his birthday. You might remember this. His family released a video of them wishing him a happy birthday, good wishes, while he's on the phone. He's on the other line. He's locked up, but you hear him on the other line. They're all happy. Everybody's happy. And prosecutors say the aim for that was to influence potential jurors. They have evidence to say that was his intent, that he might have said something. We'll get to that. Now, there are many, many other items for both the prosecution and defense regarding this bail issue, but the best way to go through all of this is to actually go through what was said during that hearing. Now, something I have to mention about going over this hearing, there are no cameras in the courtroom, so we couldn't see this for ourselves. In fact, there's electronic devices that are allowed as well. So we're basing this off of reporting from those in the courtroom about what happened. Now, the first issue that came up at this hearing on Friday wasn't even about bail. but it's about what happened a few days earlier. You see, the defense had accused the prosecution of improperly taking photographs of potentially attorney-client and work product privilege material in Sean Combs' detention unit. This was after there was a
How can a microblader make more than a doctor and only work part-time hours? Think about this for a second. A doctor goes to school.
Okay, so as we are listening to the update on Diddy's bail, I hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday. I am here from Golden and the new digital set.
DC. I should say the defense claims this was actually a targeted operation at Sean Combs. The prosecutors have denied this. They've said that they didn't even take part in the search. But there was this sweep, and an investigator from the Bureau of Prisons apparently took photos of these notepads and these notepad pages from Sean Combs' unit. In the end, Judge Subramanian, after there was a hearing held, said the prosecution has to destroy 19 copies of pages of those photos, that they couldn't use evidence obtained from those photos in their bail argument. And one of the things that they wanted to say was that Combs was improperly reaching out to one witness in particular. That would be shown by one of these photograph pages. And Judge Subramanian said that he would have to resolve at a later date if there was, in fact, a privilege violation. And if there was a violation, I'm not even sure what that remedy would be. Sean Combs' defense counsel has asked for the indictment to be tossed out, has asked for the prosecution's team from the Southern District of New York to be recused. We shall see. Now, as we're sorting through these legal arguments, it just shows you how important having a great lawyer is, right? So how can I say that without talking about our incredible sponsor, Morgan & Morgan? This is America's largest injury law firm, our proud sponsor. And here's the deal. If you're injured, you got to know what your legal rights are and if you could be compensated. Morgan & Morgan, they have a dedicated team of over 1,000 attorneys. They have an impressive track record, like recent verdicts, $12 million in Florida, $26 million in Philadelphia. These are higher than the highest insurance offers in these cases. No upfront fee. The whole process can be done straight from your smartphone. Seeing if you have a case can be done in 8 clicks or less. So if you're injured, you can easily start a claim at forthepeople.com/LC sidebar. Back to the hearing on Friday, Judge Subramanian, he had an issue with the defense. This is how it started off. You see, the defense had argued that Sean Combs' legal pads clearly had the word legal handwritten on the top of the binders, to indicate that this is privileged. Don't search through this. These are materials that prosecutors cannot have access to. Well, Judge Subramanian said, the legal pad that defense counsel gave to this court, an intact legal pad with legal written on the binding, when you look at the photos of 2 of the intact legal pads that were taken at the time of the sweep at the MDC, there's no writing on the pad. There's no legal. So why is that? He wants to know why, meaning, was legal only written on that pad after the fact? That wouldn't look so good for Sean Combs or his lawyers. And during the hearing, one of Combs' lawyers, Mark Agnifilo, said he wasn't sure when legal was written on the pads, and he did concede that during the sweep, not all the pads said legal. Judge Subramanian reportedly asked if the pad you handed up to me, did it say legal on it on November 1st, meaning when the sweep happened? To which Agnifilo reportedly replied, I'm not sure. And that led the judge to warn the defense that moving forward, make sure all of your representations to the court are true. Not a great way to start, but that's how it started. And from there, we get into the bail analysis. And the main concern from prosecutors when talking about bail is they don't trust Sean Combs to follow the conditions of pretrial release.
Exactly.
And they highlight, as I mentioned before, the allegations of what he was doing in the MDC. Now, Judge Subramanian pressed Assistant United States Attorney Christy Slavic, well, what do you say that you might not trust him, but trust his 24/7 private security that would monitor him on home confinement?
Yeah, right.
Her response, this security team, she claims one of them is a co-conspirator of Sean Combs, that this person's phone was taken away.
Exactly.
The other is a defense investigator in this case, and she alleged that that investigator has been contacting witnesses. In other words, this 24/7 private security team works for Sean Combs. Now, Agnifilo responded to that later in the hearing, suggesting that they are proposing an independent security team. And he also highlighted that Sean Combs would be living in significantly more restrictive conditions on home confinement than in the MDC. Judge Subramanian asked Prosecutor Slavic, you cite his wealth as an issue for pretrial release, so can he use it? That's a key point. That was made by both sides. You see, the prosecutor said it's because he has the wealth, the power, the resources to do what he wants on the outside and flout the rules that he shouldn't be granted bail, whereas the defense has said, okay, we have to create such an expensive and expansive bail package to mitigate those perceived dangers because of his wealth. Slavic reportedly responded that they are seeking continued detention not because of his wealth, but because of his dangerousness, his risk of flight, his obstruction. Subramanian asked her to explain the obstruction argument further. And while she highlighted what I had mentioned before, he did ask her whether running a PR campaign from
Uber made a big mistake.
Okay, while they
allegedly
pay
not
bills over
doing
there,
thorough enough background checks on its.
they are covering over on Sidebar, which I really like. What all came up into Diddy basically being denied bail. Diddy's security team would more than likely be people that he would have hired and know and have working for him that are on his payroll. Okay. Such things like that. So let's keep listening.
Potential payouts to victims.
from behind bars is obstruction, like the birthday message campaign. Now, according to Prosecutor Slavic, Combs allegedly said he wanted to reach the jurors and said something along the lines of, presumably on a recorded phone call while in the MDC, something along the lines of, I need only one. So that kind of looks like he is trying to impact the jury. And she claims that this is impacting the integrity of the proceedings, and this is his intent to obstruct. Now, from there, Judge Subramanian gets into a really key point. This is something that he actually had advised the prosecutors to be prepared to discuss. The fact that former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries was just arrested on federal sex trafficking charges in New York, albeit the Eastern District, not the Southern District where Combs is. But on the face of it, very similar allegations to Sean Combs. And guess what? Mike Jeffries was released on a $10 million bail. So Judge Subramanian is essentially asking, why shouldn't Combs be released then? To which Prosecutor Slavic references the letter that the prosecution had filed with the court in anticipation of this hearing. And in that letter, they say, well, okay, yes, Jeffries is accused of paying dozens of men for travel to engage in commercial sex acts, that he used a security company to surveil and intimidate witnesses, but these are superficial similarities with Sean Combs. First, unlike Sean Combs, Mike Jeffries is not accused of committing violent acts that were separate and apart from the sex trafficking allegations, and also, he didn't use firearms. Also, they say Jeffries is not accused of racketeering like Sean Combs is. Combs, they say, is continually engaging in obstruction. Jeffries' allegations of obstruction ended in 2015. And also, Mike Jeffries is 80 years old. Sean Combs is 55. Two different dangers. Now, interestingly, Sean Combs' other lawyer, Alexandra Shapiro, she jumped in at one point during the hearing, and she actually argued to Judge Subramanian that the Jeffries case is actually worse than Sean Combs' case. Why? Because there, prosecutors are alleging an international sex trafficking business and that the victims were raped and sodomized. And she also said, Combs, guess what? He's not that young either. Now, moving on from that point, I thought that was an interesting back and forth. There was another point in the hearing I want to highlight. And this centered around, once again, the infamous 2016 videotape that was published by CNN earlier this year of Combs purportedly beating his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura in a hotel hallway while he was just wearing a towel. And prosecutors have suggested that Sean Combs attacked her as she was escaping a freak-off, a clear example of sex trafficking, and again, to prove that he is a danger. Dangerousness, key factor in a bail analysis. Now, Judge Subramanian did something actually interesting. He pressed the prosecution about something the defense had brought up, that video may not be exactly what it is because CNN may have spliced it or edited it together. Slavic responded, it was a bit puzzling the defendant brought this up because there's really no dispute as to what actually happened during that incident. In fact, the defendant admitted to it and apologized for it in a public Instagram post.
As if to
Combs
say maybe it
apologized
may
2
be
days after that
AI
video
or
was released.
something.
And she went on to say, whether the video was slowed or spliced or edited by CNN, there's really no dispute about what the video shows. It shows the defendant shoving, kicking, and dragging a female victim. That is true. Actually, when Subramanian was questioning Mark Agnifilo, he asked him about these text message conversations between Combs and victim one in the case, who we believe to be Cassandra Ventura. And whereas the prosecution has highlighted the messages to show that she was a victim of physical abuse and non-consensual sex acts, Agnifilo suggested that they had more information that provides more context to the relationship and to that 2016 video. He said, it really is purely consistent with our view of this being a consensual, long-term, loving, fraught relationship that had a breakup, and the breakup wasn't because of coerced sex or forced sex. He even suggested that there was regrettable physical conduct going both ways in this relationship. Now, when it came to the allegations of whether Sean Combs was improperly contacting or trying to contact people, Ms. Shapiro distinguished other cases, like where a defendant told someone to lie by phone. She said that's not happening here. Plus, when it comes to posting on social media, she says Sean Combs, her client, has a First Amendment right to speak up when there is a barrage of negative media coverage out there and defend himself. And Judge Subramanian said, well, why can't he just do that through his lawyers? In other words, why does he have to go through these other third parties to do that? Now, Shapiro reportedly responded, well, we're happy to do that, but we're lawyers. It's not really what we do. Subramanian also pressed her on the communication.
Okay, wow, the sidebar stops
in a car accident in the last year.
Come in and pay some bills. We're up on sidebars tonight with TV Talks. I hope you guys are enjoying TV Talks and the New Digital Set. As we've done a lot of work to get this to you in this creative digital way. Thank you all for joining, and let's jump back into the sidebar.
Victims or witnesses, and she denied that this was evidence of obstruction, and she assured the judge that Sean Combs will listen to his lawyers. If they tell him not to do something, he won't do it. The problem, as re-emphasized by Prosecutor Slavic, is he says he has reached out to a witness, an alleged participant in multiple freak-offs, and he allegedly ignored his lawyers when they told him not to do the social media campaign around his birthday, but he wanted to do it anyway. And also, even if it is common, as the defense suggests, for inmates to share their codes to make phone calls,
it's illegal.
The Bureau of Prisons handbook prohibits this. The main idea, he doesn't follow the rules on the inside, he can't be expected to follow the rules on the outside. Now, this moves into arguably the most interesting and pivotal moment in this hearing. This is when the judge inquired as to where home confinement would exactly be. Now, Mark Agnifilo indicated that it would be in Miami, that there would be a dock but no boat, and the judge heard that and said, that's not going to work. Where in New York could he stay? So, Agnifilo responded that there is an apartment in the Upper East Side, 3 bedrooms. There would be 2 security guards in the apartment, 1 downstairs, no access to phone or internet except calls with his lawyers, and Combs would avoid all contact with anyone who would be a witness in this case. And I have to tell you, this could be a sign that Judge Subramanian is entertaining the idea of pretrial release and home confinement. I will say, though, Judge Subramanian also heard from Pretrial Services. This is the office that ensures federal criminal defendants appear in court and monitor their activities so they don't pose a danger on the outside. And the representative from Pretrial Services sided with the prosecution and reportedly said that we maintain the bail conditions are insufficient. However, this representative seemed to acknowledge that there aren't any cases they're aware of where private guards would be enlisted. This is unique. So, what did the judge decide? Well, he said he will make a decision promptly next week on bail, meaning this week, and he did suggest that both the prosecution and the defense submit letters to the court by Monday, today, at noon. And one of the questions is, what can Sean Combs say or not say right now? And those letters just came in. So the defense pointed to the recent case of United States versus Donald Trump when it comes to what Combs can say about his own case. Because Mr. Combs is, quote, a criminal defendant and is presumed to be innocent, He has a, quote, greater constitutional claim than other trial participants, including counsel, to criticize and speak out against the prosecution and the criminal trial process that seek to take away his liberty. Accordingly, the court should apply Trump's heightened standard when considering Mr. Combs' speech here. The defense also argued again that what Combs had to say was protected under the First Amendment, free speech. Alexandra Shapiro cited multiple court cases in her letter. The cited examples do not even remotely implicate the types of possible prejudicial speech that courts have previously considered. This is not speech about witness testimony or cooperation that imperils the availability, content, and integrity of witness testimony, nor does the speech target known or reasonably foreseeable witnesses concerning their potential participation in the criminal proceeding. Mr. Combs did not make public statements in an attempt to discredit testimony for the prosecution or make evidence available to the news media. The speech does not concern any attempt to publish court-ordered discovery, and this is not a case where the party's expression was itself obstructive. The government is essentially arguing for a standard in which the entire press community and civil plaintiffs and the government itself can wage war against Mr. Combs' reputation, but Mr. Combs can't even try to influence public opinion himself in response. That is simply not the law. And clearly she's referencing the multitude of lawsuits that he's facing. Now, the defense says that none of the examples the prosecution gave hold water, and they should not be used as reasons to keep Sean Combs behind bars. So what did the prosecution have to say about the bail hearing on Friday? Well, they got straight to the point on page 1 of their letter. The defendant's history of obstructive conduct is part and parcel to his decades-long pattern of violence, which must be considered along with his obstructive conduct to fully assess his dangerousness under the Bail Reform Act. A holistic view of his obstructive and violent conduct that is still happening presently, makes clear that there is no way to rebut the applicable presumption of detention in this case. The bail package presented by the defendant does not come close to ensuring the safety of the community, including the defendant's ongoing efforts to obstruct this case, nor does it adequately protect from risk of flight. For all of these reasons, the defendant's renewed application for bail must be denied. So,
attention
as my car faced some bills, they are bringing us up to speed on what led to Diddy's bail denial on previous Monday. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed the digital set. We're going to keep this around for a very long time, so please continue to support, like, follow, and tip the girl. Okay, you can also donate to my PayPal with a blessing. All that is aligned in my news stream.
The fact that Judge Subramanian did not immediately deny Combs' bid for bail like the other two judges did, and has entertained what home confinement would look like, it is possible he could make bail. It is possible Sean Combs could make bail. Now,
although we know he did not
should
make
he
bail.
violate any conditions, if he's actually released, he will go straight back to the MDC, and probably, absent some extraordinary circumstance, he will never get another chance at bail again. So if he does get released, he most certainly better be on his best behavior. Now, doesn't mean that the government won't file obstruction charges against Sean Combs and, let's say, a superseding indictment based on what he allegedly did in MDC. They could still do that. Remember, the government acknowledged they are submitting evidence to a grand jury in New York right now. They could also use evidence of what they say is obstruction, not even in additional charges, but just as additional evidence in the racketeering charge that he currently faces. And if he is released and violates his bail conditions, they could also file additional charges to them. Now, what happens if Subramanian denies Sean Combs bail? Well, it seems that Sean Combs has one final attempt to take this issue up to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, a higher appellate court. In fact, his legal team had submitted a legal brief in support of bail previously with this court, but then they asked the court to pause a decision on that while they petitioned Judge Subramanian first. Okay, so with that, let's see what Judge Subramanian decides. And if he decides soon enough, is it possible Sean Combs could be released and reunited with his family right in time for Thanksgiving? Let's see. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us here on Sidebar. As always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Okay, so we know that Diddy did not get granted bail on Monday. Bail was ultimately denied for Puffy. And those are the reasons why. Let me know that in the chat what you guys think. Me, personally, I, for one, I'm glad that Diddy got denied bail. I did not want Diddy out on bail. I'm a mother, and everything such as the sort. You see what I mean? So I was not in fan favor of Diddy being released on bail. So yeah, that was that. For me, I am one very thankful, and that the courts are making very just, sound, sound judge decisions on Diddy staying in jail. Okay, and so that was the sidebar, bringing us up to date on why Diddy was coming up for the third bail hearing and what that looked like. There have been so many people coming out, right, about Diddy. Now, we've heard of the Andre English girl, right? We talked about her. We have had her. I like some of his content. I get a lot of my understanding and insight on just where things are with Diddy, especially, right? He stays up on top of who's current, who's bringing forth the new hot tea topics on Diddy. Then there was this girl named Lamisha. Okay, she came out about Diddy, and let's listen to the things that she had to say. She was also on the Sean Atwood show. Okay, let's listen to a tad bit of what she said. I don't see. How did she? Did it go? Hold on, guys.
Your story. I know you went through a lot of traumatic things
Okay,
in your
we
life,
got it
and we're
up
definitely
here.
grateful to have you on the show
Hold on.
today.
Yeah.
Stop letting
When I was there, like,
Let's pause it.
it was horrible.
We can't hear
It
it.
was horrible. It was so horrible.
We cannot hear
I
you. I don't know why.
I
I'm
can't
working on the
describe
sound.
how horrible it was. Everybody telling me not to speak would just let them reveal my face. And like I'm telling people around me, if I wanted the money, I would have been and took the money. Like they've been paying me money and I've been living like I'm broke. They got my pictures out here. Who put my pictures out here?
I don't know why. Sound.
Now, peeps, I sat down for the most exclusive interview of 2024. We've seen her pictures all over the internet with multiple celebrities eating food off of her body when she was just a preteen. We've seen her sitting in Diddy's lap in the studio when she was even younger. Now hear her story for the very first time. We've heard stories of her abuse by famed actress Jennifer Lopez. She details her abuse by
Let's see if
Diddy.
we can get sound.
With Misha, a victim of
We
Diddy,
cannot
the
get
viral
sound.
young lady that was featured
There
in
is
all
no sound
and circulated all over the internet.
coming.
This is
from
part
this
2
one.
of the shocking exclusive interview.
Now, peeps, I sat down for the most
I hope you guys can hear me. Okay. Let me check my audio. Make sure you guys can still hear me.
The shocking exclusive. Now, peeps, I sat down for the
I hope you guys can hear me. Oh, okay. You guys could hear. I couldn't hear it. I could not hear for some reason. Okay. So. Okay. Let me check my audio. Make sure you guys can still hear me. I'm gonna pause for a second. I just got a really important phone call.
The shocking exclusive. Now, peeps, I sat down.
You guys can hear. I couldn't hear it. I could not hear for some reason. Okay. So we gotta work on that. Let me check my audio. Make sure you guys can still hear me. I'm gonna pause for a second. I just got a really important phone call.
The shocking exclusive. Now, peeps, I sat down.
You guys can hear. I couldn't hear it. I could not hear for some reason. Okay, I'm back. So I don't know why you guys couldn't hear me. Um, we just got a tap in from someone. Her name is Lisette the Hood Prophet. I'm gonna see what she's saying. She's going to be a guest on our show soon, maybe tonight, to talk about. Sorry.
I literally always have the cards on me. I take them everywhere I go. If I don't have a plague deck, then I have a tarot deck. And yes, I got the deck, but you ain't doing what you want the deck for? What you want me to have the deck for? You know I'm psychic medium, so we like different. Like I don't even have to have the deck, but I always keep the motherfucking deck. But yeah, I'm just sitting in this car because I'm not about to go inside the motherfucking house because of that dog, and so I'm still sitting out in the car.
Okay. So what we'll do, right? Because how I would like to format, let's set the Hood Prophet tarot card reader, psychic medium into the show, is at the top of the show. Okay, so not like in the middle of the show when I'm talking about Diddy and going over, interviews and things like that of the sort, from the matter with Diddy. So that's how I would do that. I don't understand exactly why we were not able to talk about or to hear the Lamisha girl that was, saying she was a Diddy victim, and him and J Lo trafficked her and had her shitting on a stage, and it was, crazy, you know, mess, a big debacle of a situation. So I'm gonna try to bring it up again, okay, and see if we can't hear it now. So just give me a second. I hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday evening. A lot of us are getting over the Thanksgiving itis. I know I am. I didn't pig out on Thanksgiving. However, ate very hearty. Very hearty. Okay, so we're just not going to try to get the Lionel B show. So let's look her up on Shot Tablet and see if it comes through. Okay. Nisha surviving Diddy. I can hear it. Okay, let's get over here and get it up and streaming. Okay. Okay. Oh, hold on.
If you've got any kids in the room, get them out of the room. There's going to be some graphic content talking about SA and the R word, etc. And Misha's going to mention some really big names. And I also have to add that Diddy, he is pre-trial right now. There's a presumption of innocence. He's not been convicted of anything yet. And he said he's going to go to trial and beat the case. I've just got to add that for legal reasons, as many of you know. And huge thank you to Misha for coming on. And thank you, viewers, for all of the questions you've put in. And the first thing I've got to ask you, Misha, is, do you waive your anonymity? Are you giving us permission, to ask you questions and for you to share your story?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to just tell us then, what was your life like as a kid before all this happened?
Well, before all of this happened, I had a good childhood, but to a certain extent. I had my mother in my life up till I was about 6 years old, and she used to be a paramedic. I was conscious. And he was like, man, I can't get off.
One of the things students...
Okay, we're listening to Lamisha. She's one of the alleged Diddy victims that has come out, I believe, in a suit against Diddy. She's being interviewed by Sean Atwood on his UK show.
Or whatever. He turned me around, kissed me in my mouth, and was telling me, like, it's okay. He was like, I can't.
One of the great responsibilities.
Oh, God, all these ads. I just want to get it right to the part where she starts to talk about Diddy.
They're lifting me onto the jet, and they're saying, like, my body weight is dead. They're saying I was heavy, people, which was a Jewish guy with dark poems, and I was good at writing songs. And when I was younger, we had like the encyclopedia books, like all of them. I did cosmetology and barbering, and I just finished that, like barbering cosmetology now. So that's what I'm doing. I'm into hair.
So for people here in the UK, could you explain what 9th grade means?
9th grade is like after the 8th. 9th grade, in high school, you have the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. I only made it to the 9th. I never made it to the other grades.
So how old was that?
When, that's when you're 13, the 9th grade, you're 13, turning 14.
Okay, and how did you end up meeting Diddy?
Well, when I was younger in the middle school, I was advised not to say the person's name, so I'm not going to say her name. I met this girl, and after the 9/11, the Muslims were getting bullied real bad, and They bullied her because she wore the black turban on her head. And she told me that she wanted to be in gymnastics, and but her family wanted her to be like a gymnastics star, but she wanted to be a singer. She already knew she wanted to be a singer. So I got in trouble for the things that I was writing as a child. And I was like, they talked to me bad and was like, I was going to be nothing other than a harlot. So I gave her the music because I was mad. And her dad worked for CNN, and he was a producer. So, but he wasn't the type of producer that I needed. He introduced me to a ghostwriter that worked for, that ghostwriter for Clive Davis and other music people, which was a Jewish guy with dark hair, and it was curly. He had a pointy nose. And through the Jewish guy, he was paying me the money from Clive Davis. That's how much I want. And like, I'm a kid. At first, I was getting $20 for a composition book, but then after that, they started giving me $500. And I used to just give that money to my grandmother. And then he bought Pierre Harvey, however you say his name. He bought him, and he was kind of bullyish acting without the Jewish guy there. At first, he was paying me. And then I remember one time he came with a cigar and he snatched the book out my hand and like blew the smoke and was like, write some more. I'll be back. You better have like command me to write more. They was coming by my house this whole time and they was recording me, like audition. Like they had me doing dances, singing the songs that I wrote. And one day, PR Harvey, he came by himself and he said, with a driver in a black SUV truck with tinted windows, he said that P. Diddy wanted to meet me in person and come to his flavor camp for 48 hours. I told my grandmother. My grandmother said no. I was mad because I felt like she was taking away from me wanting to be a star. So I took it upon myself to sneak out the house, which was in broad daylight, and I went to the car and I was thinking P. Diddy was gonna be outside, but it was Pierre Harvey, however you say his name. It was him outside, and he had Diddy on the phone, and it was a big, thick cell phone he used to have. And he called him. I heard his voice, and I said, "Okay, we're going." It was the whole thing was they were supposed to take me to go find my mother, which was on drugs, and like I knew which part of the area she'd be in, but we never went to go search for her. When I sat in the car, he was like, "Eat the candy," and it was some strawberries. It looked like it was open. I was like, the jelly beans, they just felt like funny, and he was like, "Eat it, eat it, eat it," like being real persistent with me to eat the jelly beans. And when I ate it, I swallowed some of the juice, but then it hit me, and like I kind of just got stuck. And then I was like, I want to get out, and like he closed the door, slammed the car door, and then he got in the car, and next thing I know, they're lifting me onto the jet, and they're saying like my body weight is dead. They're saying I was heavy, like she heavy or whatever. I remember waking up on the jet. I remember my ear popping and my stomach dropping, and it's foggy because I get there. And it was so traumatic. It was so traumatic. When I get there, I had on a pink Nikes and like a pink windbreaker outfit. When I get there, I had that on. I wake up, I have on the DG and I have on a skirt. And he was telling me, welcome to the flavor camp, and I'm going to make you a star. You have the qualities or whatever. And he gave me a camera, and he told me to take pictures of the area. Like, take pictures of that stuff that I remembered. I took a picture of the pool table. I took a picture of the room. I took a picture of the studio, because it's pictures without me in the studio, but it was just regular pictures. I took pictures of that. And I remember him like I didn't have my underwears or nothing on when I was sitting on his lap in that picture. And I remember him like telling me like, "Ooh, look, she got a nice body, got like a nice little shape on her or whatever." And like I just felt uncomfortable. And after that happened, I'm in a daze again. I'm on the chair. I have the same outfit on. See, it could have been different days, you know, but I'm on the couch. I see a lady on the pool table. She's getting raped by, R word by P. Diddy and another black guy that was there. And they were doing what she was saying, that she was a virgin, and they still took it from her, and they had a pool stick on her too. I remember waking up saying I was thirsty, and when he was offering me stuff, and he was like, "You want some champagne? You smoke?" And I'm like, "I'm a kid." I'm telling him I'm a kid. Like, I don't do drugs. I'm a kid, because I thought it was a test or something. And he chuckled, and then he was like, "Give us some water." But when he brought the water, I took a big gulp because I was thirsty, and it was the same taste from the candy. So once I drank that, I remember waking up. I was in the restroom. But before we went to the restroom, he said Roger Bonds was his driver to go buy a pink dildo. And this dildo was a long, like real long, like probably like it was like one of them long 15-inch ones, and it had a penis on this end and a penis on, like it was two-sided. And I didn't know that was going to be for me, because he was asking me the way I wrote my music. It seemed like I had sex before, but I was writing about me being molested and how I was, my urges I was feeling. And after he got back with that dildo, I remember being hard on that bed, but I passed out. I was scared. He asked me if I did this before. He was sitting down, I was standing up, and then I was like, no, and he got aggressive, and he put me down on the bed, and he RA'd me. It hurted so bad that I passed out. I wake back up. I'm being RA'd in the restroom, and he's behind me. He has the video camera while he's behind me, and he ended up handing it to Pierre or whatever, and Pierre started recording, and he was like, "Man, I can't get off," or whatever. He turned me around, kissed me in my mouth, and was telling me, like, it's okay. He was like, "I can't squeeze my nipples." And then he turned me back over, and when he turned me back over, he put it in my where I do number 2 at, and I remember passing out from the pain because it hurted so much. And I'm thinking I'm screaming, but I'm screaming in my head. So whatever drug he had me on, I'm screaming in my head until my mouth was able to yell and scream. He switched out. Pierre Harvey get behind me. I'm still like passed over the sink, but I feel the pain again of the thrust. It woke me up. So when I looked in the mirror to see, like, dang, you're not done, it was Pierre Harvey. So I started yelling, no, 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 because I didn't consent to him, I passed out again because it hurt so much, the pain. They tell the Jewish guy to come. The Jewish guy, I was looking at him like, help me, because I remember him telling me he just had a daughter. So I'm thinking he would help me. And he just looking there, he looking scared. I think he was crying too, to be honest. He was crying. He was looking, he didn't want to be there. And, he wouldn't get aroused to me. And Diddy was like, if you don't do her, I'm gonna do you. So he was acting like it, but I wasn't screaming. And Diddy told him get out the way, whatever. And then Pierre Harvey came back over there, and he turned me around and he started making me give him
from the front in my mouth. And I remember I couldn't breathe. I remember he slapped me upside my head, telling me not to use my teeth. I remember him smoking. They were smoking. They were smoking white hard stuff, white rocks, and
correct.
Diddy sitting in the door arm, and the way that the stalls are made, they're long. It wasn't like a regular restroom. Diddy sitting in the doorway, masturbating. He's recording, and I remember that man shoving a champagne bottle at me, and I was screaming. I know if I wasn't screaming, I was screaming so loud. And they left me there, and some white guy with a cat snout came pick me up. This white guy said he'll take me home. I said I want to go home. So I was thinking I was going home. They put me on a jet. He was like, "You gotta get
This has an explicit sexual warning.
He was acting frantic because I think he came to for what he did to me, and he was like, "I couldn't go home."
This particular content. And thank you all for being.
I remember the white guy put me on jet. They drugged me again, and it was other Caucasian teenager girls with me. And I remember being with them at first, and then it was just me by myself. And they passed me around to all type of white men. I remember being tied to a tree, being beat in my back. I remember them drugging me out of my mind. I wanted to die. And they put my hand over the stove.
Watch all of this. This is my first time watching it as well.
They put my hand over the stove to like wake me up. I remember each white man used to beat me with a thick belt in my back like I was a slave. It was other children there. They were brown skinned, a little bit darker than me. Like, if you can see, I'm two different colors or whatever, but they was like the darker color of me, the darker brown of me, and we were all in like a chicken cage, like in the like if I think about it, it was a slave cage. And it was a lot. It was like probably 50, it went down to 30, and then it was just me. And I remember one time, P. Diddy was telling me to kill one of the babies, and I said no, and he shot the babies. He shot the baby. The baby had to be no more than 5 or 6. He shot that baby. He was like, pop, 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 pop. And he told me, pick up the knife. I thought he gonna kill me, so I picked up the knife, and I was just the body of the baby, and
this gets darker.
I remember certain celebrities that was there. They blocked on me, but I can hear the voices. They had a knife, a corkscrew, a candle, a spoon. The knife was like a steak knife, a butter knife. They had a broken champagne glass. And a cigar. And each of them had to stick something in me. And the faces I do remember seeing is, and it's not allegedly, I saw Bill Cosby light the cigar, which I just want to say that the God that I serve is an awesome God, because I survived this, and God helped me still where I couldn't move, but I was conscious. I can't explain it. Bill Cosby lit that cigar, and he did what he did to me. These are the things that I tune out. Okay, so he had a cigar, and he lit it, and he put it out on my area. I remember Jennifer Lopez said she didn't want to do it. She was there with another guy, and she did it really hard. And she stabbed me with the champagne. I was screaming, going crazy. I think I started moving, and they blindfolded me, and I couldn't see what the rest of them did to me. And I remember we were all in the room with candles, and we had to.
Okay.
When we first met, it was at
We are listening to Sean Atwood's interview with Lamisha, a girl that has come out and said that she was R-rated, worded by Diddy and several other of his affiliates. Okay.
Like Bell, Ocean, I don't want to say their name, but they know who they are. And whatever drug that they had us on, you can see what appeared in the light. And I promise, like I'm not lying. It's a spiritual warfare going on. These people conjured up these Baal, they conjure up Oshun, they conjure up everything. When it's my turn, I just kept saying Jesus Christ, and they said, "What is she doing? Like she can't call on him." And then they said I couldn't say Christ, so I just kept saying Jesus, 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 and it appeared in the light. I don't know what drugs they had us on, but we all saw it, and they called me a witch, and they beat me to death. They beat me.
Just take a minute, Misha, and just take a breath. I think you've done so well.
Part of this story sounds very convincing.
It's like making vibrational noises.
So this part does sound very.
Misha, we're just gonna, you're such a brave person. You know, to tell your story and to relive this, and everyone's saluting your bravery right now. It's all just love and respect in the comments. Let's just take a break from the horror for a second, and I'm just gonna ask you some questions away from the horror. So, how old are you when this happened, and also, when to be at that age and to hear about.
I was 10. I didn't get back home until I was 11. I was 10 when I left. I didn't get back till I was 11.
Okay, so you're 10, and this guy, Diddy, is this huge star. I mean, for someone who's 10 years old, what did you think of him before you met him and found out what he was really like?
I thought he was a mogul, and I thought he could make you famous. He did it for Biggie. He did it for Mary J. Blige. He did it for all these artists. I didn't know that the music industry is dark like this. I didn't know. But then I did know, because before I left, they was teaching me witchcraft, like making music over water. They gave me a book. Because, King James, before he wrote the Bible, he has another book. They was giving me that book to read it, to do spells. So I was thinking of it as like Harry Potter in my mind or something. Like I wasn't thinking it was demonic. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
So is it a method they employed that they tell kids they're going to make them stars, or they're going to give their careers a rise up? Is that the kind of thing they did at Blowing Smoke?
Yeah, they tell you that they're going to make you big. He told me he was going to bring me out when I turned 20. But they tell you that they're going to make you a star. They tell you that they promise you a lot of things, and you don't get nothing took from you, because he wants your innocence. He wants your creativity, and he wants power over you. So that's why he do the things he do. It's for power.
And you were just 10. So you said you were stuck there until you was 11. You were stuck there for a year?
Yeah, because how my birthday works, like right now I'm 33, but in December I turn 34.
All right. So how soon after you were introduced to them did the horrors start? Was there a period where they were nice to you first, or did it get really bad quite quickly?
Well, everything was bad to me.
Even with Clyde Davis, everything was bad to me. Because when they come back and I'm standing talking about it, I tune out. He was there too. He did something to me. But it was so traumatizing to me that I don't want to remember it. I don't remember eating. I remember drinking my own urine and having to eat feces. It was nothing good about it. It was nothing good about it other than after they, like, I have to fight through the high to warm or something like that, but it was nothing good about it. It was nothing good. It was nothing good. Even if he was nice to me, it was nothing good.
So among the young people who were going through these horrors at the time, was Justin Bieber one of those young people who was experiencing these horrors?
I didn't meet him until like the 2003, 2004, but yes, he has experienced that. He made Justin Bieber do things to me and made me do things back to Justin Bieber.
And how old were you at that point?
I had to be either, because I ended up coming back home from the first incident and I ran away back to him when I was 13.
So were you able to, like, you say you had to do these things for each other? Does that mean that, like, you guys were enemies, or were you able to make friends with Justin?
I mean, they would just use me as like a bucket. He was just using me as a bucket. Even his sons. If God could take me down, like God can strike me down. Even his sons, Justin and King. Quincy was there too. But he would use me as a bucket. And other young artists, I haven't named their names. But they would use me as a bucket. If I recall, I remember them having to hold his arms. Quincy had to record. We were all underage. He drugged them. He always keep us drugged. I remember they hurt me real bad in the back, with the part where I do number 2 at. And he told me, I told him I was in pain, and he told me, "Oh, you in pain? You want to get your revenge back?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he made me do it back to Justin. And Justin was screaming. He was crying.
So I was going to ask if you and the other young people could, like, plan to escape, but if they were using substances on you, I imagine that the substances kept you trapped.
Yeah, they did. And every time I did try to escape, I told a person my real age. They always brought it to his attention, but they still left me with him. Nobody cared, if that makes sense, or nobody cared. Nobody really cared. Or even if they did get me away from him,
Whoa! Trigger warning. This is Sean Atwood with a alleged trigger warning. Very explicit, sexual, graphic nature of this interview with Sean Atwood in the UK. Over on YouTube, he is interviewing a Lamisha girl that came out. I believe she has a lawsuit against Diddy. She's telling him and his audience, and now the Tanisha Talk T followers, what she alleged she went through.
Back with him.
That's what I was going to say. So earlier, you said you managed to get away when you was 11. How did they get you back?
I ran away back to him. I met this lady. She used to be a model in the model industry. She's on drugs now. She was on drugs then. And she was saying she was a model, and I was telling her I wanted to go back. Like, I rode the bus, and I was like, I'm trying to get back to P. Diddy. You know how to get to New York. And like, that's how I got back. We hitchhiked. I hitchhiked with people I didn't know, and they got me back to New York.
All right, so explain what happened then. So at 11, you got out, and then what was your life like when you got out for a bit?
I was traumatized. I was obsessed with. I felt like I joined their cult because I had to eat. He was telling me the reason why I'm saying I was eating people because it could have been raw meat, but he told me I was eating people. Like,
He killed the little brown boy and his skin was brown. So I'm thinking I'm eating the little slave kids that were in the thing with me. And we did drink blood. So I felt like I was in that cult.
So are you saying, okay, so I understand they were brainwashing you and terrifying you and manipulating you. So after you managed to get free at age 11, did you feel so brainwashed that you went back? Is that why you went back?
I went back because I felt like I've been through all this and I'm at home. I told my grandmother what happened to me. She talked to me and was all like, I'm not taking you to go do no police report. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. She always, every time I do something wrong, she'd be like, it's because you drunk the blood. And they used to be like I was going to hell. You ate the people and drunk the blood. That's why. And then my best friend will be over there. And she didn't want to eat meat in my house because my granny was like, we all eat people. Like, she was just being funny. And I feel like they talked about me really bad. I was like, I might as well go back.
And how old were you when you went back?
I was 13.
And what happened the day you came back?
He was like shocked that I came back. And I was like, you don't remember me? You remember me? And he acted like he did not remember me. But he told me that he was supposed to kill me. And he kept me. He took me in public to parties, like elite parties. He kept me around, and whatever they was doing to me, they were mad because it didn't work. It didn't work on me, like my memory. I still have memory, and it didn't work. And the elite people were mad that it didn't work.
And is this leading up to the incident where you were on the stage and you defecated?
Yes, I did. What happened with that issue? Aretha Franklin was there, and I drank some of the champagne. Me and other black guy, which was another person that was supposed to be a ghostwriter. We thinking it's BCB powder, and we drunk it, and then we had to go to the restroom instantly, and everybody was everywhere having freak off fun. So the restroom was full with people, and he found me. He was like, I've been looking for you. Get on the stage. And when I got on stage, I couldn't hold it. So I'm up there dancing, like, ooh, just dancing around, and I'm using it on myself because he wouldn't let me go. He wouldn't let me go to the restroom, and that was a humiliating feeling right there because everybody just looking at me like, oh, I hear people saying she stinks, and like, oh, she nasty, like, is she just gonna keep dancing? And I remember Denzel Washington was like, you don't have no respect for nobody, and him and his wife left. So there was a lot of people, a lot of celebrities there.
She's saying to be her.
And did Diddy punish you after that?
Yes.
How?
I got beat up, and then after that, I remember seeing me and Miss English. I remember waking up. She was just out there like this out of there, and I remember yelling, help me, but she couldn't get up. She couldn't move. She was out of there. We were just both out of there, and it was like a line. It had to be like more than 100, 200 people was in a line, like a cafeteria. One line was this way, one line was this way. Like they're going to us, and everybody having sex with us at the party. And there's had to be more than 200 people, 150 people.
So was Miss English going through a lot of the same things as you? We did have her on the channel. She described some horrific stuff.
She wasn't there with me when I was in the tunnels and all that other junk. She was there that incident, but she was willing to come dance because he already knew she was a porn star. So what happened was they set me up. They sent me on her. She was working at a club, and they told me to give her this money and tell her I choose up with her. So I gave her the money, and she took me back with her. And I remember being with her, reporting to him everything that I saw. He'll give me money to give to them, because the dude that she was with, he was more like a pimp in my eyes.
And after all that happened, I remember he beat me up and he wanted me to do something. And I told him I didn't want to do that. And I was like telling her, like, I want to go back home. I'm only 13. Can you please take me to the police station or something? I just want to go home. I don't want to be around this no more. And she was spooked and she was like, does Anthony know? And I was like, no. And she was like, well, just keep saying you're 17. And she went and told Anthony, she was like, tell him everything you said to me. Like, she was mad. And I told him, and then Anthony came up with the idea of how this is leverage to where he can get his modeling. And then when she took me back to Diddy, I was crying. I was telling her I didn't want to go back, but she dragged me. We went back.
I will
whatever. And
take a restroom break.
I remember her being like, we got this on camera. We recorded this. If we don't make it back, it's going to be the police station and on the internet. And then Diddy was all like, oh, ain't nobody ever came up against me. She Diddy. And he was all like, and you're a fucking, sorry. He was like, you're an effing snitch. And he was all like, I want you to know, you come work with me or whatever, and I'll put you on payroll. And then she was all like, okay. And she negotiated for Anthony to come work for her too, to come work for P. Diddy. And after that happened, I remember I wanted to go back with her, but he said I couldn't go back, but I had to stay there. And I remember getting beat up. And then he only brought me out when it was time to do parties. I couldn't be around or be out. But I remember when the girls got paid, I used to be like, where my money? And he'd be like, I took you shopping earlier. But I wanted to buy like tennis shoes, Jordan. He made me buy heels, and I really didn't know how to walk in heels. And I was like, he said I was being ungrateful or whatever. So he never let me out until it was time for the after parties to the freak offs.
And what was the difference between a regular party and an after party?
The regular party, it'd be like people be there with their children, the kids be there, and it still be naked people around, but the kids it'd be like the kids, everybody outside, no one is having an orgy. It was like different levels.
So in the after party, it was just full on, anything went.
Yeah. Everybody on everybody, girls on girls, guys on guys, guys on kids, kids on kids. It was everything.
And is this around the time there was a plan to get you pregnant?
I was pregnant a lot throughout that time. I have scars, but when I went to the doctor as a grown woman now, I only have one child. I had him normal. The doctor said that he told me that they was going to take my organs because my C-section started from my chest, which you can see I still have a black scar. Like I have a dark scar right here from my chest all the way down. That's how they cut me. I remember waking up looking and seeing my insides. That's how they cut me. I got pregnant multiple times, but I told him, like, because it got to the point where I started seeing spirits. Because we was into that cult stuff, he was using me to see the spirits and talk to the spirits. And I told him if he killed me or if he killed another baby, that he was going to die. And when he took that last baby out of me, he said, I'm giving you a chance. I'm going to name you Chance. But that didn't happen. Hold on.
Okay. While Sean Atwood is paying some bills, so are we. We are listening to the alleged encounters that Lamisha, a Diddy alleged victim, is saying about her, rape and assault and abuse and everything. She was alleged, as she's saying, to be trafficked by Sean Diddy Combs.
That didn't happen to 2006, 2005, around that time when I got back home. that didn't happen to then. But throughout the other times, I can't really discuss. I don't want to go into too much details. But the way that Adrian told my story, she jumped everywhere. But it's a lot in between then.
Did you say that some of the girls were so damaged by this that they can't get pregnant now? Their bodies are damaged inside?
Yes, they can't have kids because they were sticking knives. My uterus is real thin. Like, I can get pregnant, but every time I get pregnant, I'll lose it. Like, since I've been away and been grown, every pregnancy I have, I lose it because my walls are so thin from what they have done to me.
And was Ali Carter one of those people who was going through these horrific things at this time?
Yes, I had caught on through her.
That's another.
She had told me.
Ali Carter.
She had told me to the things that they were doing. They were experimenting on us, doing snuff films. You know what that is, right? They was doing that on us, and she told me I'll never get wet. So she said, start getting wet from it, and they will stop doing it to me. So I had to make myself like it, and got wet, and then they stopped doing that to me.
And this is quite graphic, viewers, but you know.
And I always thought Ali Carter was older than me because her survivor mode. I always thought she was older than me, but I never knew I was older than her.
In one of your other interviews, you said something about they were forcing young girls to squirt, and then that juice was used for certain purposes.
Yes, it was celebrities in their award gowns. It was them. I remember one person pooped on the floor, and I remember my first time going through that experience when I had to go through that experiment that they do. I don't know what this has to do with money, music, anything. That's what I never could get. And one person boo-booed on the floor. I had to lick it.
Live
so I rubbed on my body. And if you gag, you get beat with a stick. Now, it's some celebrities that don't want to do anything to children. So they just beat them with a stick. They beat you on your head, beat you in your back, or they ram it in any hole. But they have to do something at these parties. Like, if you in this room, I remember it being a white square room with a dance floor, and it's like the neon lights, like the lights going. And everybody's standing there, and the kids will be butt naked with like a leash on their neck. And whatever, like if a person spit on the floor, you have to lick it or eat it. It's whatever they wanted to do.
People in the chat are asking, Misha, how you got those scars and burns on your arms?
My scars and burns is I covered up a lot of I got a lot of tattoos to cover a lot of my scars up.
And was it from around that time that they were caused?
No, I didn't get these tattoos until I got older. When I got grown, like, I didn't start getting tattoos until I turned 22.
So this second time then, you know, you've gone back, and it's a second time now. How long did this second time last?
3, 4, 5, and a little bit of 6, but I came back home. That's when I went back to high school. And when I went back to high school, all my classmates were in the 11th grade.
So the second time lasted longer than the first time.
Yeah, I was there. I wasn't planning on ever coming back home, to be honest. But he tried to put me, like, I had the baby, his mother, when I had to breastfeed the baby. Sometimes I didn't want to breastfeed her because I was addicted to the drug, and I was feeding for the drug. And I had to bond with the baby, and I just, like, they never let me bond with the baby when I wanted to. So when they was trying to make me bond with the baby, I didn't want to bond with her. And I didn't want to be there. And I remember slapping his mama because my breast was really sore that day, and she had wanted to.
Let's stop. Okay, let's go on ahead and do a little tea talk on this. So Misha is an alleged Diddy victim. She has came out and said that she was trafficked by Diddy at the age of 10 years old. Misha is alleging that she was a something of a songstress and would write beautiful humming, songs. So no, no, Ella, here, let me open it. Here. You're welcome. Go back up and sit down and watch cartoons. Um, and somehow she was brought into the fold around Diddy, Clive Davis, Harvey Pierre, and because of her talented creative music abilities, right? And so from that point is when she believed in her 10-year-old mind. I don't know where, an authoritative person, a grown person, to protect Misha. However, where was Justin's mom? Where was Usher's mom? Right? Where were all the other young musical people that were brought around Diddy, where their parents were not, guarding them as needed? Right? Um, I'm gonna take a second because I don't know. For some reason, I just be feeling like I can't hear me.
I ran way back to him. I got some sugar said she has been bottles. For some reason, I just feel like I can't hear me.
Okay, I can. So good. She was to, I believe, a studio of some sort where she was then very violently, brutally attacked, physically, sexually, um, drugged, and then they kept her. No parent, no person of, guardian, caring, authoritative person cared. And so Misha was with Diddy until she was a teenager, where she was trafficked through tunnels, she alleges, where, lots of celebrities took advantage of her. She claims her and other child proteges of Diddy's, other people that are not musical proteges of Diddy's, but were underage minor children. So Misha goes on in other interviews. I do know she says it. Sean Puffy Combs' child, Christian, I believe, is actually her biological son. So we're gonna keep listening. At the half point of the interview, I'm going to give my perspective of what I believe. If this is a true, you know, moment of Misha's life, then I gravely, gravely pray and pray that this woman gets all of the healing, all of the love, all of the support, that God wraps her in his bosom, for the rest of her time. And, her life be what it needs to be, um, from that part of her life being taken away from her. I pray that she's restored to the 10th millionth power. If this story is an alleged story that is made up in complete fiction, I pray that Nisha gets the psychological help that she needs, because she's psychologically damaged, in a state that only a psychotherapist or something of the sort can, help restore this woman's spirit, soul, mind, and everything else back into a condition of a functional state. Because these things that Misha is alleging happen are only made from nightmares. Okay, you would not wish the things that Misha's saying happened to her, while she was allegedly human trafficked by Sean Puffy Combs, Diddy. on your worst enemy. And we all know we have some people in our lives that we hate, we despise, we wish nothing but, you know, nothing good on them. But we don't wish them this level of hurt in life, right? These are some of the things that Misha is describing, and whether true or false, I pray this woman gets the psycho, you know, therapy that she needs to bring her back into a place of, you know, knowing herself and going back into her purpose of self-being. Let's continue to listen.
Security guards put me outside. I remember being outside for a couple of days until I walked off barefooted. They put me outside barefooted, and the homeless person gave me his shoes. And I remember telling him, these shoes are too big. And he was all like, well, you don't even have any. And I was all, he had a good idea. And I just took the shoes. I had like some big size 12 shoes on. And I remember one of the security guards picking me up, giving me my pictures from the first time, giving me a stack of papers to give to the police. And I didn't want to turn them papers in, but he told me to turn everything in. So I gave all that to the police. And he gave me, what is that called? The USB thing. Like back in the day, they used to put it on like a little chip. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
He gave me that. Yeah, he gave me that. The police watched that. They asked me how did I get this, and I said I stole it. I was told to tell them I stole it. I said I stole it, and I told them to call Damian Williams, U.S. attorney, which in it. And they asked me about Blink Twice. I told them I didn't want no parts, but y'all can make a movie so it could be awareness. I didn't say I sat down and I came up with I said that they came from my police report. I never said I helped write Blink Twice. I just said it was based off my police report.
Misha, Jaguar writes in the chat, she's watching this, she's a friend of the channel and she's been helping a lot of people. Are you okay if she comes in to the live stream and talks to you with us?
Yes, she can.
We're gonna stop
with her.
I just wanted to get your permission for that. And
we're gonna stop right there. We don't give Jaguar Wright any airtime on our platform. So that was Misha. Okay. She was an alleged Diddy victim. She dumped a lot onto us. What do you guys think? Is she true in the accounts that happened with her and Diddy? Or do you think that this is something that she fictionally made up from her, you know, hearing things through how we've heard things and that sort of thing? I personally feel that Misha I have a slight maybe this could be true. Maybe. Only because if y'all think that Diddy's, you know, abuse and hurt only, you know, reached as far as celebrities and that was it, no. I'm pretty sure there are some mixed about people that are just regular, everyday, average comer and goers, as we all are, most of us, you know, that are not real celebrities, you know, are his victims, right? And for that being my know-with-all, I feel that maybe she could be, you know, recanting or, you know, saying some things that could possibly have happened to her in her life. Okay. It's sad, it's hurtful, it's harmful, it's abusive. I need everybody to please continue to protect your family. Family is the number one thing that you have in this world. Protect it with all of your might. If it happens that you lose sight, or you lose your way, or you lose your understanding, never ever lose the understanding that God can restore back to a being that can love and protect your family. Never ever stop fighting to get back to that point. We love you over here at Tanisha T Talk Sees. This was some type of tea on my type of topics Tuesday. I thank you all for listening. Please support my channel by sending me stars. Stars help me earn money to make more content. Bye.
This is Tanisha Talks the Tease. Remember, show me love on the subscribe, like, and share button. And always stay sipping.
Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay sipping.